what would you recommend to strength and conditioning coaches that maybe aren't lucky enough to be paired up with a sports coach that allows them to at least, kind of show what they can do so that they can get results, so that potentially they can get more buy-in? What happens when you're in a situation where you're kind of, shut down by the sports coach, where they don't want players to even maybe sprint? Sometimes they don't want them to lift heavy because that's not what you need on the field. So how would you approach it from that perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have not worked in too many scenarios like that, except for this current one. But I do run a business, and I have a daughter, and I have a wife, and I have worked on other sports teams. So I think a lot of it just simply comes down to relationships. And if you want to win every relationship, if you want to win every debate, so to speak, any point of debate or point of contention, and you think that the best way to do that is to tell the other person they're wrong, you're very misguided. I think it's really important that you sit back, sometimes swallow your ego, and educate first. So if, as a sports scientist, you educate and say, uh, you know, very subtly point out why something might be needed, what the best way to achieve that end might be. And then I found in team sports settings that it can be very useful to make it so that the sport coach believes that the idea is his or hers. So don't try to take credit for the idea itself. Let them have credit. Believe that they made that choice. Ultimately, I think that is their choice to make. They're the executor of the team, so they make the executive decisions about whether we go in the weight room more often or not at all, or whether we sprint or we don't sprint. And so you educate them, and you point things out like, hey, if we sprint uh, minimum once a week at this type of volume with this type of intensity, not only can I get guys faster, but the research shows pretty well that I'll reduce the likelihood for injury. And you can just kind of subtly make these cases, drop little tidbits, in your correspondence with the coach and your day-to-day passings with them, to where they start to understand why you have these strongly held beliefs. Because ultimately, I think if someone is good in their job at what we do, we don't believe what we believe for no reason. We have a reason for what we believe.